Car maintenance. The worst part about being into cars is having to maintain them and not doing fun stuff like modifications. But unfortunately you got to do it. So in this week's video we are doing some preventative maintenance on the EVO. I haven't driven this car for a while. Weather's been really crappy in Melbourne, so this car has not moved for ages. So what I need to do is jack it up, get the front wheels off, pop the pads out, as when I had the calipers off to do the wheel bearings, I noticed the pads are really low on the front, so I want to get onto that before they damage the disc, because it's got two-piece front discs, which are not cheap on the front. And something else I've really needed to tend to, which hopefully I can show you on the camera, is the starter motor sticks in this. It's very common for starters to go on these cars. Lots of people do refurbished units and stuff like that, so that shows that it's a very common thing. Hopefully my mate Marcus, who's an auto elect, can rebuild mine and I don't have to shell out for a new one because they're very expensive. So hopefully I can show you on video it's sticking. So when you start the car, it stays on after the car starts. Not for very long, but enough to be a bit of a worry. And it sounds absolutely horrendous. So hopefully you guys can hear this. Hopefully that came through on the camera, but it sounds disgusting when you start this car. So it's something I really want to attend to, so let's get onto it. So here is our starter motor right at the bottom, so it looks pretty easy to get to. Just the cables here, there's a 14 here, a 14 on the top up there, which looks like a bit of a pain. This shield off, and it should drop out, but we will see if it's going to be easy or not. So after like 5-10 minutes on the other side here where the starter is, looking for the other bolt, I realized it's actually on the opposite side. So if you're doing an EVO starter motor, the top bolt is on the gearbox side. So the reason I want to just rebuild this one is because, as you can see, this is still a genuine Mitsubishi one. So I would much rather keep this than fit some Chinese crap onto the car. So hopefully Marcus can work his magic on this. I'm going to give all this stuff a bit of a clean and drop this off and hopefully get it back very soon. Really hoping I could tell what clutch was in this car, but I can't see jack shit. It does look pinky purple, the cover, but anyway. Now that the starter's out, I can give here a good clean that I couldn't get to before too, which is awesome. So that's about as clean as everything's gonna get. As you can see, this stuff was all very dirty. There's no point in painting this as it's a heat shield, so all the paint's just gonna burn off. I'll hit this with a wire wheel at work, along with all this stuff, and we'll get this rebuilt and get it back looking brand new and not sticking. It's also nice and clean under here. So now I can move on to pulling these brake pads out. Now, I don't actually have pads yet. I'm gonna pull them out. I wanna match them up instead of just getting some and hoping they're right. Because the car's an import, it's not the easiest stuff to look up. It's a good chance it's gonna be wrong, so I'm just gonna take the pads in with me. Now, pads on older imports have always been super simple, even with these Brembos. You don't even have to take the caliper off, so just pop these two pins out, this metal plate pops out, and then you just slide the pads out the top like that. Now they are well and truly gone. Look how much material's left on that. And this one has big chunks out of it. They definitely need replacing. Take this stuff to work too and clean it all up. Get some brand new pads and put all this back together. So my local Hoppers Stoppers had these in stock, which was perfect. For anyone at home, this is the Bendix pad part number for EVOs. It actually suits Mustang, VE, VF Redlines. I had the Brembos, HSV, STI and stuff like that. So it's all the same Brembo caliper. And pretty cheap, only 120 bucks. So that's good. These are our brand new pads here. As you can see, a lot more life on them than these ones. And I tried to clean these up as good as I could at work, but they're not perfect, but they'll have to do. So we'll start putting this all back together. Now I can't say I've ever done pads on these before, but so here's the new pads sitting in there. Now how I got these pistons to go back out is I just put the old pads back in, and because they were so low, they've got plenty of room to just, with a pry bar, one of these big ones, jam that in there. You destroy the old pad, which doesn't matter, to push the pistons back out. So put these plates back in, the pins back in, and onto the other side. So pretty simple, that's all back together. Literally just hold the plate in there, put the pins back through, and you're done. I'll show you the whole process on the other side. I just wanted to quickly do this one, make sure it was all right. And it's in a really shitty spot here, right up against the fence, so I just wanted to get this one out of the way, and I'll show you properly the other side. Alright, so it wouldn't be a proper video on this channel if we don't stuff something up. So I think this bottom right piston has come out too far and I cannot get it back in. All other three are in, ready for the pads to go back in, but this one is completely stuck. I've had a huge breaker bar on it trying to push it back in and it's just not going. So I think it's past the point of return. I'm gonna have to pull the caliper, and I'm not gonna stuff with it. I'm just gonna drop it to the brake place and get them to try and get it back in. Something so simple as changing pads on this car, which is 2 pins, slide the pads out, put new ones in, put the pins back in, has now turned into I can't drive the car and I need to pull the caliper off and therefore re-bleed the brakes. Oh, I love cars so much. But anyway, so I'm gonna quickly whip this caliper off and I'm gonna have to wait till Monday to get it repaired. Scrap that. So for once, I think I've had a win. I thought my last ditch effort, I'm gonna soak this all in brake clean and leave it for a while. And when I came back and cleaned it all up, I gave this piston one more go and it popped back in. So I'm not gonna count this as a win yet, but once it's all back together, then I'll believe that it's all fixed. Now just a note to anyone doing these, there is actually an inner and an outer. You'll see here, in and out. And this one has a little wear indicator on it, so that'll start squealing when the pads get too low. Yes! So that's how simple it is, just slide them in. Oop, too far. Put the little plate back on, the 2 pins on each side, and that is it. Pump your brakes up. I'm so happy I didn't have to take that all apart and take it elsewhere. There's nothing worse than failing at something that is so simple. And we're all back together and ready to go, you know, apart from not having a starter motor at the moment. But now I know I've said this a million times, but one thing I've been searching for since buying this car is If you can see on this side, it has this brake duct which draws air through the front bumper here, and it's always been missing this side one. Now it's a part that's discontinued, can't buy it brand new anymore. All the places that wreck EVOs I've tried, none of those places have one, so I've just sort of been keeping an eye out for one over the last 2 years, and believe it or not, I just found some. And it's a pair of them. I'm gonna have to buy a pair, which is fine, no problems with that. I'm just quickly checking these part numbers here, because Smart Mitsubishi, they have their part numbers on all the parts. So it's MR463800, MR463800, so it's the right one. There's 14 hours left, and hopefully I can get them for that starting price, $55. They're gonna be expensive by the time they get here, probably over $100, but I don't really have a choice. It's not something I can get new, and I can't find it used anywhere. So hopefully I win that. So if you reside in Melbourne at the moment, you know how absolutely freezing it is at the moment. Jesus. But we're doing a spur of the moment, heading to a car meet in Port Melbourne. It's kind of 2 car meets combined in one. Well, from what I've seen, it's the same address, so that's what I'm assuming. VN's got no heater. I've got 2 jumpers on, a jacket, 2 pairs of socks, and we're about to head out. So we'll see what cool cars are out tonight. I'll be honest, I haven't started this up for a couple of weeks now, so I hope it even starts. We're about to find out. Beautiful. All right, off to go meet mates at the petrol station. Only costs about 500 bucks to fuel this thing every time I drive it. No worries, it's all worth it. I mean, what else are you gonna eat at the petrol station while you're waiting for your mates? And it's 2 degrees. A mandarin, obviously. Come on, Marcus. I'm freezing. This is another problem with being so punctual when you're on time to everything, because everyone else is always late. And then you sit here in the freezing cold, like an idiot at the petrol station, waiting for everyone. Ugh.
I'm fucking dying, mate. Did you eat?
No.
Did you eat?
Sorry guys, didn't film much. That place was hectic. So if you went to the Port Melbourne meet on the 30th or whatever it is today, I'm gonna say there was over 1,000 people there. You could walk down any of those streets and any of the car parks, there was cars everywhere. It did get a bit too crazy, so we left. Like, there was people sitting there on the rev limiter and stuff like that, which I can't be bothered with. And then the cops came, so we just left, ended up going to Pizza Society, and I reckon there was easily 30 or 40 cars there as well. So very, very good night, no problems with the car or anything, so a cruise well done. So anyway, so Marcus at La Rock Auto Electrical came through for this video, rebuilding my starter motor in time to get it into this week's video. So there was actually nothing damaged inside. He just said it was all clogged up with crap and not greased at all inside, like drier than a nun's. So everything just got cleaned. He said he rebushed here and put it all back together, and it should be all good to go. So I can pop it back in and we'll have a fully functioning EVO again. Helps if you connect the battery. No more sticking starter. Thank you again, Marcus, and see you guys next week.